Hello, viewers. Welcome back. This morning, I am redoing a video I did last night. When I film the Akashic cards at night, it often gets very granular and the lighting isn't perfect, and I just felt like you couldn't see the cards that well, so I'm trying to refilm it this morning. I left the cards laying out overnight so that I could tap into this energy again. The Akashic cards are about reaching into the Akashic records. The records are in the etheric world. If you have read anything from Edgar Casey, he describes how at one time they were actually written on scrolls and things, and were stored in Atlantis, as well as he believed under the foot of the Sphinx in Egypt, which have yet to be discovered. We'll see someday if these scrolls come back out. But in the Akashic world, it's a record in the etheric, in the energy, and these records are the wisdom of all life, all knowledge, all knowing, all experiences from every individual and spiritual being. So tapping into these records brings that wisdom to light. And what I have asked is, I asked John Lennon's spirit energy, John Lennon as he was in the most recent lifetime, to ask his energy to come forward and help me pull the cards and deliver this message to you today from these cards to guide us through the holiday season, through the month of December. The holidays always feel like a time when there's more love, there's more light in the world, and the veil may be a little thinner during the holidays, and brings out the best in people. It always seems like people are at their best during the holidays. Sometimes the stress of the holidays can bring out the worst also. Have you ever been in a family gathering where a big argument starts up? It can be a time of tension also, but the veil's a little thinner, and if we allow ourselves to open into that energy, it's a great time to bring your light into the world. So the first card that we have is diversity. And diversity, there's a woman here, she's holding a scroll. There are scrolls on the table here. There's this beautiful countryside out in the distance, and there's like little towns that are on the hillsides here, dotting the hillsides. Diversity is about going within, learning from, she's learned from her scrolls, she's read and learned and studied, and diversity is about then going out and sharing what you have learned with the world, getting out and having new experiences, meeting new people, venturing forward on new adventures, and just getting out there and sharing your light with the world. The second card is the Ark of the Covenant. And this card, there are two men sitting by a fire here, and the Ark is actually in the tent. And these men have made a contract in this lifetime to come and carry this Ark, to carry it to its destination, and bring all this knowledge from the Ark of the Covenant, safely to where they store it. And it's about, taking a break when you're on your life's contract, when you're on your life's purpose. It doesn't mean that you have to have a huge sense of urgency about it, that everything has to be done now. It's also about understanding that there isn't a sense of urgency, that you can take time to rest, that rest will restore your energy and help you to achieve your life purpose. And also, looking at who we partner with, someone who's on the same page, that has the same agenda, not getting wrapped up in other people's agendas that are different from yours, and not getting wrapped up in other people's emotional dramas and things that may detour you from your path. So understanding your own sacred contract that you made when you came into this world to do what you need to do. And if you aren't sure what your life purpose is yet, it's about taking that time to rest and meditate, or whatever helps you align your being to understanding what your life purpose is. Yeah, it's also about karma. Karma doesn't rule us. We rule karma. We rule our own karma. My karma does not rule me. I rule my karma. We have free will. We make choices. And when we understand that, difficulties we may have had in a past life or whatever, those were for that life experience. We have a unique contract for each lifetime, and we have our own way of dealing with our own karma. So, if you take the time to rest and understand what your life lessons are and what you're learning in this lifetime, and not worry so much about past lifetimes and what's happened, worry about this one and what you can do when you feel like karma is speaking to you, and what you can do to move forward and learn and grow. Yeah. It's also about, paying attention to what requires our attention, because what you commit to in this lifetime, what you commit to, will influence not only your present but your future. And when we make commitments, these men made a commitment to carry, the ark. When we make these commitments, they have long-reaching influences on our life. So taking the time to understand what you're committing to, don't let someone try to pull you into overreaching on commitments. If you feel stretched too thin, then say no. It's okay to say no. If you have the time and you have the energy and you want to help someone else, please do it. Helping others is always wonderful, but well, not always, because there can be times where you need to rest and maybe you're not the best person to help that person. So understanding, when you can be of service to someone else, and when, maybe it's better if you sit back and let someone else. Taking care of yourself, and making sure that you're whole before you're trying to help someone else. The next card is called Caught in the Ruins. This one is really difficult to see. Caught in the Ruins is about a prison. There's two people sitting in this prison cell, but the prison cell it's like in an old castle ruins. There's no ceiling on this stone building, and there's a set of keys hanging on the wall here. Kind of hard to see, but there's a set of keys hanging on the wall, and it's about self-imprisonment. Whatever causes us to put ourselves in a prison in our mind, whether it's a belief pattern, being too rigid in a belief pattern or belief system, whether it's traumas from childhood that keep us locked down, or drama at work, becoming a workaholic, whether it's, addiction issues, habits that keep us stuck in a rut, whatever imprisons us and keeps us from moving on our life journey. Um, you know, these two people in the cell, all they have to realize is that they can pick up the keys on the wall here. Just reach for the keys and unlock the door to the prison, the gate to the prison, or climb over the walls. There's no ceiling, so climb over the walls, and changing your thought patterns so that you release yourself from the exile that you put yourself into. A lot of times when we get around friends and family during the holidays, it can trigger certain things that cause us to go back into that prison in our mind, trying to behave a certain way for family or friends, and not being our true authentic selves, and releasing ourselves from the prison so that we can be our true authentic selves. When you have a negative thought, try to replace it immediately with something positive, and releasing that prison. And then the next card is called the King of Forces. The King of Forces, he's surrounded by animals. He has this beautiful nebula in the sky above him. He's surrounded by nature, the stream. There's a little rabbit here and a wolf and a buck. And he's standing here very calm, very centered, very grounded. And because he's calm, animals that are normally enemies are calm. So the wolf and the rabbit, sitting together, animals that are normally not calm around each other are calm because he's centered and calm. And it's about finding our center, our calmness, even in chaos around us, which often happens during the holidays, staying calm and centered. And one of the best ways to do that is to get out in nature and experience, the beauty of nature and the peacefulness of nature. John's talking about how often he would walk in Central Park in New York just to get out in nature and enjoy the energy that nature has. So even in a busy city where it's hustling and bustling and people going everywhere with their own agendas, can feel like overwhelming, a little bit chaos energy. But there are spaces, even in cities, where you can go and find peace and calm and find your inner being again. On the bottom of the deck is the Oracle of Delphi. And if you've ever read anything about the oracles, they, there's steam coming from the ground. They would sit or stand over these vents in the ground, so to speak, where the smoke would rise, and they had a scribe who would often interpret what they were communicating. Sorry, I had to pause the video a minute. A major cat fight was about to break out. But anyway, these oracles would sit over these steam vents, and it's thought that these gases, from the earth that were coming up may have contained chemicals that help them to achieve altered states and even hallucinations or visions. The scribe here, would try to interpret whatever they were saying, and it's about, going within, trusting your own intuition, developing your own intuition, and however you feel that intuition. Some of us will see it in our third eye. Sometimes, you'll feel it in your gut. Sometimes you'll feel it in your heart. And, intuition, sometimes you'll get tingles, on your skin. Intuition is felt so many different ways, and there's no right or wrong way. But it's learning to develop your own intuition and letting that guide you, as opposed to someone else, influencing you, letting the guidance come from within. In addition to the Akashic cards, I pulled 3 Rider-Waite cards. The first one is the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords, it's about choices and options that we have, but we're often blindfolded to this. And, there's a moon in the sky, which can represent feminine energy. And like the Oracle of Delphi, it's a very feminine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy into us. So it's about tapping into that feminine energy. And, all this water behind the person sitting here, this blindfold, it also represents the feminine and the flow of that energy, the flow of that intuition. And this person has a choice. Some say they're blind to what their options are, that they don't see it yet. But it could also represent, covering your physical eyes so that you can see from your third eye. Just because the person can't see physically what's going on, what the options are, they may see it here, or they may feel it in their gut. So knowing when you feel stuck, that there are always options. You can always take a step on a path and decide, you know what, I want to go back and take the other one. So there's no right or wrong. The second card is the Hermit. So again, this is a more masculine version of the Oracle of Delphi card. This is someone who goes within, gains wisdom that they need. So whether it's studying, meditating, reading, or just sitting, doing nothing, going within, gaining the wisdom you need to move forward, and then shining your light out into the world. Again, shining from your own unique contract that you made when you came into this world, of what you wanted to do and what your life purpose is. And then the last card I pulled was the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is the messenger, and he's got a plan and he's got a message. And so, when you've gone within and you've gained your wisdom, and you're ready to step out into the world and share your light, share your messages. You never know when one little thing you say to someone can mean so much to someone. And bringing that out, speaking your truth. Standing firm in your truth. So I think these cards definitely tie back to the Akashic cards that John helped me pull. Diversity. When we go within and we study and we get our creative juices going, and then get out in the world and experience things. You could sit and read and gain all the knowledge you need, all day long, but until you experience it and actualize it, you don't truly learn what it means. And I feel like John Lennon was so open to learning and growing and experiencing and getting out in the world and trying new things and going places he'd never been, and then he would bring it back into his music and share that gift, that contract, that gift that he had with the world through his music. But he was also sharing it on a daily basis when he would get out in the world and experience life. Yeah, so you know, make sure you take the time to get out in the world, but when you need rest, take the time to rest. That will help you remember your life path. That will help you remember what your sacred contract was. And when you feel like you've locked yourself into a prison, when you feel like you're not sure where to go, or you feel stuck, thought is energy and thought is power, and you have to change the thought first before you can change actions and words. Words are energy, so if you change the thought, the prison just disappears. You don't even need the keys on the wall. The prison just disappears if you change the thought first. And staying calm and grounded, during the holidays when it gets so crazy and people are frantic and running around, staying calm and centered when you're at family gatherings and everyone has different opinions and different ideas about things, just staying calm, step back, knowing you don't have to engage in the arguments. You can step back and just let them be in their own path, let them be in their own energy, let them be in their own choices. Just stay centered, true to yourself. So I'd like to thank John Lennon's energy for coming in and helping me with this. It's it's not like straight out channeling John, which wasn't the purpose of the Akashic. I just wanted to ask his guidance on how can people best handle the stress of the holiday seasons, and what's going on now in this political times can be very stressful, and getting around family that may think differently or feel differently. I feel like these are tools that we can use to help us stay centered and grounded and true to ourselves without having to conform to someone else's expectations or beliefs. It's interesting because John, to me, even when he was protesting, he was always very calm. He was always very centered and calm, and quick-witted, but always calm. And when you think about one of his most iconic protests that he did, the bed in, what better way to protest than resting while you're protesting? It's going back to the taking time to rest. And showing there are peaceful ways to resolve situations. It doesn't have to always be about fighting and anger and drama. There are peaceful ways to share and express your light and your gifts with the world. People will be drawn to someone who's calm, much more so than someone who is out there and angry and the light that you shine when it comes from a centered place will attract more people. It will attract people who will test you, but it'll also attract people who want to feel that same calmness and that same centeredness. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. I always find the Akashic readings very enlightening and very coming from a very loving place. So I hope you do watch some of the other Akashic readings that I've put out on YouTube, and subscribe to my channel so that you can see future videos. Thanks again for watching. I know these are a little bit longer, so thanks for watching and sticking till the end, because there's always beautiful messages in these videos. Thanks again.